Beautiful people, welcome back to the Castle Magic podcast. Today we'll talk about financial freedom. In fact, this entire season is going to be about financial freedom. And there's a variety of conversations I'll be having with different guests here. The first guest I have on the show is really brilliant. His name's Tobias, and he currently lives in Switzerland, but he has quite a global background. He has traveled a lot, and currently he is the Global Strategic Account Manager and Senior Advisor for Employer Branding at Universum. Uh, if that doesn't tell you enough, if I can just share the kind of things and the kind of sales and things he does. He's been doing sales for about a decade now, and not only that, but he's approaching life in a very interesting way. He's led different kinds of institutions and companies and organizations. He has led country chapters in Africa regions. He has traveled to the South Americas. He has seen a lot of different places and a lot of different things. And he has a very unique perspective on how you can actually create a better sales environment and a better experience for your own business. I know many of you guys are building a business or are creating something on the side. And it's really crucial for you to actually understand how to do sales and also to do it in a way that doesn't stress you out on a regular basis, in a way that actually helps you to really enjoy the process and really learn from it. And he has some amazing things to share with you. So I'm excited for this particular episode. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get the party started. Toby, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Noah. It's super nice to be here. And yeah, as you said, this has been in conversations for over a year to finally do this session. So I'm super happy to be here and share a bit about my life and what I went through.
Toby, tell us a little bit more about where the journey started for you. What's your story like? Where did things start?
It was a warm summer night when I was conceived, I guess, because I was born in February, so counting 9 months back. So I think spring feelings, conceived with spring feelings in the summer of 91, I guess.
Hey, that actually you were conceived in May.
Could be. Yeah, almost now. Yeah, quite some time ago. No, but I usually like to go back a bit and give a bit of context because I always felt that everything connected somehow in my life and how things turned out. But just to give it some context, so I grew up here in Switzerland for my entire life with a Swedish mother and a Hungarian father, who just moved down from Sweden to Switzerland just before I was born. But at the same time, the whole culture and thing that we grew up with, it was very Swedish dominant. So we spoke Swedish at home, we had Swedish traditions, but we all did that in Switzerland. And we started to do these traditions a bit more, I felt, than people who actually live in Sweden. You kind of get stuck in a certain time and then you hang on to certain traditions more than maybe how it is in the country where you came from. So coming to Sweden or being with other Swedish people, I always feel like, oh my God, I feel like on tradition side or singing songs and cheering, I'm even more into those things than actually, my companions in Sweden. What also comes to it is that my dad is from Hungary, but he grew up in Sweden. So he's kind of like, I don't know, first generation expat in Sweden, that also comes to it, and then making us kids kind of like second or third generation when it comes to growing up, having different roots, but being in a different country. And I always think it's important to bring that aspect up because understanding different backgrounds, different cultures, it helps you also to understand different personalities, different people. And when we then close the whole circle and we speak about sales very often is about understanding the situation, what leverage you have, but also understanding the person that you're speaking with. And I truly believe that all these aspects and things that happened in the background in my life somehow came together, kind of making it feel easy or natural for me to do certain things, especially when it comes to around sales. So yeah, my international background, I think it kicked off kind of an environment and place that set me up for success in this direction. But yeah, it all continued and moved forward through school, boarding schools, international schools, studies internationally. I was always drawn to explore and get to know the world even more. So having a broad horizon growing up, but I think I set it as my attitude and personality through life to keep opening my horizon and getting to know new things. And I've just found the beauty in it. And yeah, just do it day by day, enjoy the flow.
So nice. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for sharing, already how we can really understand others better in their context and how it really ties in. I think that's something I'd even never considered, how it even plays into the role. Many people who are listening today, they'll either have a business that they're running, or there will be well in transition in some level of projects. They may be even thinking of switching their job to some extent. And some people will be in leadership positions. They'll be looking at how can they increase their impact. But I feel like they all had similar-ish roots, a bit like you, where we say, "Hey, I have multiple places that I'm sort of coming from, and I'm trying to find my place in the world." And I know that you, at some point, uh, well, you went all over the world. Um, Tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
journey, like what got you into understanding different cultures, because you've been to places where many of us haven't been. And what were some highlights where you would say, okay, I would love for people to understand this about the world
Yeah,
if I could, share that.
definitely. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to speak about it without very concretely mentioning ISEC. And I think many who have been in ISEC or in a similar student run organization that is set up internationally and you have the opportunity to travel and go to different conferences, it opens up a lot and many will, yeah, naturally get the chance to do those things. When it comes to cultures and traveling and everything, I kind of felt that even before I joined ISEC, I felt like I'm in an environment that was very ISEC similar. And it has to do with my parents being a bit international, so it comes with it, but also their international network, uh, also being on a global level, the same as it now is for me with ISEC. But it was actually my dad who was the second generation who was allowed to do university year abroad from Stockholm. So he was the second generation of students, the second school year of students who could go there. The year before, in the first year, it was actually Dolph Lundgren, the Hollywood star, who was studying together with my dad, just a year older, and went to Sydney, Australia for a year abroad first. And yeah, that's where his whole story and working as a bodyguard and meeting a famous Hollywood star and becoming a Hollywood star himself somehow in that context. But that's also what my dad did and was there in Sydney and got to know a lot of friends. And they came visiting in Switzerland, or we traveled there, or they came to Sweden and so on. So I always had this international environment of going to different continents and places, but having them visit me as well and just enjoying and feeling how it is to know people all around. So I was always interested in this environment and how to do this kind of things. Another funny story also before ISEC that happened, it was when my older brother was looking for an internship from his university, and I was still in the high school environment, and I had a very good friend in high school who had a dad who had a high role in the company where my brother was looking to get some internship. And somehow I just connected the two to meet, and he was like, "Yeah, just come. You can have an internship here." And it was a great opportunity for him because he was in Switzerland, but he could go 3 months to San Francisco to do an internship there, and that also happened so effortlessly, so easily, just somehow with the connection that I was able to make. So I started with a very international background, start with having traveled already to many different countries and continents, started with already matching people to internships. And then, all of a sudden I start university and I find ISEC. And then it's like, wow, what is this place? It's so international. It's doing stuff that I somehow naturally did before, finding internships for people. And I just felt like, wow, this is like a match made in heaven. So I just felt like, yeah, I was already set up for that path. Uh, but ISEC just made it so much more and so much better and on a different level. So if we have any young listeners, try to find something like Isaac, and yeah, put yourself out there and get the most out of it.
Totally. Yeah, agreed. And because that's a really crazy wild ride, was also for me. Kind of solved most of my problems that I had internally, right?
Yeah,
On the external side, there's often no problems. Sometimes there are. That's not true, actually. There's often problems as well in the external, but internally, there's usually all kinds of chaos going on, especially when we're in our 20s.
yeah,
Confusion. We have no idea what we're doing. We're trying to find a place in the world, careers, family, blah, our own parents. So,
exactly.
so
I,
many
I really
things.
feel, yeah, I really feel it puts things a bit in context for you, and you can
Right.
also take a step back. I mean, at the end of the day, it will always be about what do you put, let your mind make you think, or what direction you go.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, pulling yourself out and getting into different environments, you get a bit of big picture also when you get back home. But yeah, a bit back to your question: how did it start, and where did I travel, and where did I enjoy it? So I just wanted to give
Mm.
a bit of pre-context to being international, and being exposed like that. But it actually all started with starting university, wanting to be in an international setting. Even in high school, I had the feeling like, yeah, when I grow up, I would probably like to be in some environment where I'm traveling for work, being international. So I will study international management. I will do it in English, and go that path. And then it yeah, brought me to, hey, second year you need to go abroad. And then I ended up going to Hungary, and that's where I met Isaac. And then I went super into Isaac and being active with the organization and helping students getting abroad. And really went with the flow there with Isaac, and yeah, loved it so much that I went on the national team of Isaac in Hungary. But then also really wanted to go beyond, and got elected as president for Isaac in Namibia, which was one of my big journeys and interesting ones to get to know the whole Africa region, and then matching myself for an internship in Chile to also get to know the whole Americas region. And of course, in both regions, I've traveled extensively, but I also need to take in the Asia region that came with it as well. So with all these international conferences and things, especially when you're president for a territory or country in ISEC, it really opens up the world in a different way that, yeah, I couldn't really have imagined. So yeah, I feel well explored, well traveled. And if I think about, well, where would I like to live, or where did I enjoy my time the most, one of the countries I really would like to highlight, because there are many places and spaces that are super nice, but one that spoke to me very much was actually Paraguay. And the reason it spoke to me a lot was, on one side, the kind of environment that it had, the places you could go in terms of like beaches next to rivers. But above all, it was just the vibe and the people. And they just had a certain way of being relaxed and kind of enjoying every moment and interaction. And yeah, I just loved their style of living. Like, they carry a small chair and like a terere box with them, where you can, mate is like with hot water, and then you make the tea. Terere is like a bigger bucket, and you have ice and some drink inside. So you kind of make iced tea on the go, and you just share it with each other and things. And yeah, ever since, Paraguay is really the place that I would highlight and recommend to people who kind of look for a new travel destination
Mhm.
outside of their horizon currently.
So nice. That's beautiful. That's high on my list then. I have not been there yet, actually, I must say. So it's very exciting. Thanks for
Exactly.
sharing
That's
that.
why I
Yeah.
say Paraguay. Yeah, people usually haven't traveled there. It's not so touristic, so it all adds up to making it an interesting and nice place.
Hmm.
So
That's true.
yes, to all
Thank you.
podcast listeners, anyone planning to travel to Paraguay, hit me up. I'm happy to share some more details for your trip.
Nice. Nice. Oh man, so good. Thank you for that. Let's take a little bit a curve into our topic for today, and talk a little bit about sales,
Yeah,
because it seems like I appreciate that you shared this context of how people are being, you know, and the way how you kind of saw them going about things. Because funny enough, when you actually explained or shared like how people met people in Paraguay and what their style is, and how they're being in the world, I felt that that's how you are.
Yeah.
It's like very just, very relaxed, enjoying life, and somehow this thing called sales just happens for you also. Not effortlessly, but it seems like
Mm,
I can see it a lot more effortlessly happening than for other people, I tell you.
yeah.
So that's why I really wanted to have you on the show because I could see that you have some sort of like, you have figured out something about life. And about this particularly that I just wanted to pick your brain on. And I would
Yeah.
really like to understand, like, how do you approach the whole topic? How do you really
Yeah.
see the world of sales or, in a business sense? Like, what would you really love for people to understand about it?
That's super good question, super good topic, complex topic as well. Really love the comments. This person seems to have it all figured out. I really love to say something like that. Do I feel like I have it all figured out? Absolutely not. Do I feel I am in full control and like, yeah, it's a piece of cake? No, absolutely not. It's one of it's actually a super difficult and hard thing, especially to somehow grab or evaluate or look at. Having been in sales for over 10 years in different setups and settings and so on, and sales is a big topic. Everything that you do, it's kind of a selling moment. It's just connected to different situations, what people are doing, the context of the situation. But other than that, it's all a bit of the same thing. So, for example, if you start a company and you either have a product or you have a service, you're completely new, you have a bit of a feeling like, this seems like something practical or something that people could use. There's kind of like a whole process of it all. It's like, okay, you have a product, okay, are you able to make someone else excited or interested about this product? Let's say you make a nice pen. I guess you would be able to do so because you're excited about this pen or whatever that you've created that is in some way super nice. So you as a person, you can go and be super excited and you can be like, hey, Toby, look at this super cool pen. I'm so excited about it. I love it. You can do this and this, And then my reaction is like, oh, wow, that's super cool. I also want to have one. You sold it. You were just excited about that pen. Of course, if you go and do that play, that took like a 15 minutes to get me excited about it, you can do that 100 times and you would have sold maybe 50 or 60 pence. You wouldn't sell every time, but like the conversion and the ratio would be quite high. But is it the right thing to do? Like, is this how you would set up your business? You have the pen and you're selling. I mean, you invented this pen, you are very excited about it, and you go and sell them. The problem in this whole situation is that the value of the pen and the time it costs to sell it in that way is not aligned. So even though, it's a super good product, you're a really good salesperson because you're excited about it and it's going well, but still you cannot live from it because, the value and the time connected to that value is really different. And then we come into the topic of sales that is now in different levels and things. So for example, to sell a pen or a chocolate, and if you switch it around, the person is sitting on the other side. What's the decision process for this person? What does it take you to decide, should I buy this chocolate now or not? It's like an instant, quick decision. It doesn't take much, or maybe you will buy them in bulk. What's your decision process if you now decide to, I don't know, buy a new bed and you want a really fancy and nice one? There is this new one with the pod that can measure your heat and how you sleep and optimize it. Could cost 5, 6, 7,000. The process to decide to buy that is different than to buy a chocolate. It's a higher value, so you take different things into consideration. Now, if I'm a bed salesperson, I'm in a different sales environment than if I'm selling pens or chocolate. So what do I know if I'm selling beds? Like, why would this person decide to buy this bed? What also plays into, like, what are all the other beds on the market that are sold and how are they advertising themselves and what makes this one special? And am I selling this bed, I don't know, paying a lot for a location? Do I try to have walking clients? Because then I know, like, oh, emotionally I can get them and they're already here. And then, it's kind of like another thing ticked from their box. Can I win them in the flow and stuff there? Different scenario, different environment. now we come to even something more complex, I think, going away from products in sales, but going into services. You're building your business, and your business is to sell services. How do you evaluate this type of service? Are there similar services on the markets? How does your service differentiate from the others? Does your service really differentiate? How much piece of the market would you like to take with this service? What do you charge for this service? Who do you sell to in that case? All these kind of things are super complex, and I feel even more important to figure out first, when you build a business or something, than to think about how can I sell this better or in a different way, and so on, to kind of like understand big picture and where you try to go with the whole thing. So there are numerous books on these topics, and I've flown through different ones and looked at it, been in endless trainings on sales, and there are like different aspects and things and how you can negotiate and piece by piece. So of course we can go into detail on all of those aspects as well. But some of the books, they really speak about, hey, if you start selling a service that maybe costs 50 or 100,000, you're going into a direction which is then more consultative selling. Like the person who is sitting across has an idea or a task they need to achieve, but they're looking for different support or service that can bring them there. So when you're kind of selling a bigger project, it's not like, okay, I have this service combination where I do this many hours of different things, and this is what I offer you. Do you want it or not? But it really goes into like, okay, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What's the setup that you have? What do we need to take into consideration? Who could it affect? What are the bottlenecks? What are the red flags we could read out from the beginning, and then put together something or work out a solution and thing that is really aligned, with them, so the kind of activity in the sales, it's kind of shifting. And if people are thinking like, hey, you start a career, you want to go into sales, I mean, sales can be so many different things on so many different levels. If you're a person who goes door to door to sell insurance packages to families or people, also a completely different thing. Still, in every sales role, you learn a lot about yourself, about the details and things. So it's all a growth aspect. But I also truly believe that most people would be able to sell projects that cost 500,000 once they just get used to the environment. What are the things that we are looking at? What are the bottlenecks? What could go wrong? How can you steer the whole thing? Who are the stakeholders on the other side that are making this decision? And so on. So there are so many aspects and things. At the end of the day, it's the same as in life. If you stress yourself about all things that happen around, you could go around your whole day feeling like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know how I can do it. And it's kind of like the way of living and being, and I don't know, how you pack your day and your life. And it's exactly the same in a sales job. And early on when I started, and I had some transactional sales and it was more volume based as well, I could really feel that I could work from 7 in the morning until 9 in the evening and not necessarily feel a very big difference in like, oh, wow, now I feel way more successful or I got so much more done. I feel in sales, there is a very big important component in trying to do things a bit smart and trying to make sure that not 80% of the time that you invested selling goes into zero results, and only the 20% of your work is actually the result based or the money that comes to the account for the company or for yourself. But to actually somehow figure out like, hey, how can I focus on that 20% that made me money, stay on that 20% work, and the 80% of work that you did so far that ended up in nothing, how can you optimize those aspects and go in more detail in making sure like, hey, how is every time that I'm using optimized in a better way? Otherwise, it can feel so frustrating. And I think that's also something that you asked, Toma, in the beginning. Like for many people, it seems kind of like annoying or a struggle. And I think it's just what you put in your head or what you tell yourself. You need to get used to like, yeah, some companies are saying no. Sometimes you're close to reaching a target, but you won't. It's all about making sure that you manage regular conversations, you keep it high up, you have a good pipeline, you don't have pipeline that sits there for too long, because there is kind of a risky reason that, they haven't decided so quick, so it might be that they are just not going for it. Doesn't have to be. Sometimes stakeholders just jump in 6 months later and just give a green light, so such things can happen. But regardless of how it goes, in terms of numbers, targets, and so on, if you're in sales, and how to enjoy it and be successful and get the most out of it, enjoy every conversation that you have with clients and people. Don't try to be so pushy in a sense that you need to get something through and so on. Think about them. Think about how you could make them look even better in their company. How can you help them outside of the things that you're selling to them? They look for people to trust, someone they can work with, someone, if they put a lot of money in a project, they can stand behind it and then feel safe with the whole situation. So sales is big. I try to give a bit of big level what I think about it. But sales is complex. Sales is amazing. Sales is interesting. Happens everywhere. And right now I'm there to make sure those 20% of the week that so far ended up in success, how can I make sure that all my time is spent in that area?
So nice. My God, I could listen to you all day. In fact, I feel like that's really beautiful, because so many different aspects here. And I think that was really, really valuable for the listeners. I think I'll highlight this. But if you don't mind, would you mind if we go a little bit deeper into those 20% that you spend most of your time in? What's your thinking process around it? Like, I get the 20/80, like that's not a new kind of concept whatsoever. And I also understand the idea of, okay, cool, let me see what actually worked, right? That I did. And then focus more on that, right? But also what you have usually in sales or any business owner is a lot of doubt that comes in.
Yeah.
And so you're not always certain what's really working. Plus the market is sometimes changing, and especially with AI and blood and whatever, lots of new things coming on constantly. So how do you do that? What's your thinking process around those 20%? How can you tell, this is the crucial part, I definitely never want to skip that, and what's the more optional sides of the coin?
What's the optional side of the coin?
Well, what are the 20%? Let's stick with that for the moment. Yeah, what are the 20% that you are usually talking about? That you not as this is, because I know it will look different in every business and every company a little bit.
Yeah.
But what's your way of finding those 20%? How do you think about it? That's all I want to understand.
Big picture answer on this question. I would go in the direction and say that I kind of switch on the aspect. You have the push-pull kind of concept. You also have it in marketing. So push marketing is great pen, super nice, buy it now. Push marketing. Pull marketing with the same thing would be Toma, renowned author, publisher of books, is right now in his study hall taking some new notes and ideas for his new book, and the pen that you're using to do that is this pen that I'm selling, so that would kind of be a pull marketing way of speaking about the pen, because I create an environment and then that thing pulls you in instead of like, hey, look, buy this. So with services and things, it in general goes also a bit in this direction. So you don't push, the sales and the things, or I stopped pushing so much. I started creating environment and spaces where I'm pulling in the sales. And I think it's an interesting topic to speak about, because we speak about this 80-20. And I don't know if this 80-20 is exactly like it is. It just came up to me when I was working I don't know, 2017, I started a new job in Switzerland. I really wanted to prove myself. I went all in, and I really spent time in the office very often, 7 in the morning until like 9 in the evening. And I went really hard, but it was not visible on my, I don't know, sales numbers or the volume that I did. I don't say it didn't help or it wasn't good. And you kind of need to get the ball running and you need to get into the flow, and then you will take each task and thing also a bit easier. But back then I just felt that, hey, I feel like I'm going, running. But, at the end of the day, it doesn't show like, wow, this is super, super amazing. So of course you start step by step feeling like, hey, how can I avoid more of those tasks, time consuming, and, that don't really go into the results, because you don't really know, is it going to be successful or not? Like there's always like a small question around it. So I just started to go step by step into making less and less of the things that I personally felt like, hey, I don't feel this is really going to bring me what I need. And where is it that I should focus on, or what are the activities that I should do that at the end of the year will make me successful or bring the numbers that I need. And I really went into this pull marketing way, but not only pull marketing when it comes to how do I advertise, or I speak about certain case studies where we did projects and how they turned out. Very good pull marketing strategy, but also in the way on how I'm having conversations and how I'm interacting with the clients and the contacts. So I have some companies that have bought in the past, some are a bit new, but it's less that I'm reaching out and be like, hey, can we have a call? And then I'm saying like, hey, are you going to buy this? What does it look like with these topics? Would you buy this? But what I'm doing is like, hey, currently we're speaking about on how platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini are sourcing the internet for information. So if someone is looking for information there, how are they screening and putting together the results to show you, and how can your information that is on the internet, structured in a way that AI likes to read it and organize and structure it, to make sure that you're appearing in a better way, like new trends, what is happening in the market, what do young people want, etc. So I started just to speak about topics, trends, what is happening. But I do the same also with the client. I ask them, what challenges do you have? Where does it go? And sometimes we just speak about certain topics and things that are kind of in the air or are out there. And sometimes we have some inputs to each other. But it's more about, I don't know, getting to know each other, speaking with different topics and bigger picture things. But it kind of like lays different layers of base that I have then with this person, because now already it's like, this is a cool guy. They speak and try to innovate in this direction, Then if 2 weeks later somehow internally someone comes up with like, hey, now we are implementing this and we are changing it on the company career webpage and we are implementing this component, then I already have a good base. Then I just reach out to this person and be like, hey, we spoke about these topics and everything. We now have an aspect on how to approach this. This is how we did it. This is the results we get. Is it something we should try on your side as well? It just feels less awkward, in the moments. And what I also sometimes feel is sometimes even worse. I feel that the person I'm speaking to, it's more awkward for them to say no than for me to hear the no, because it's also not comfortable because you kind of like the person. It's like hard for you to say no, in that moment. So that also sometimes happens. But yeah, I think big picture, when it comes to this 80-20, just try to make sure that every activity you do is kind of helping you on the big picture on what you try to achieve and where you're trying to get. And try to, I don't know, have a mix, especially when you just start off. You will have to go one-to-one and kind of like in that way, you need to get the ball running. But what will really exponentially make you successful is super happy customers, the word of mouth, sharing those word of mouth things and making it viral. Going online and sharing those details, experiences, things that happened. I don't know, cases of how you solved it, what happened to them, how they like it. I mean, things you would share probably one-to-one as well, but make them reach a wider audience. And then it just knows in, and then you just go from, who could I approach, who could I sell to oh my God, who are all these people with a request that want something from me? So, okay, let me see how I can schedule to fit them in and have a conversation with them, or do I even want to, engage, or does it seem like someone who might not spend that much? So it maybe doesn't, make too much sense to take too much time and everything.
Man, brilliant. I
So
love it.
don't stress out. Let the people come to you. I mean, you need to build it. You cannot just sit there and be like, haha, my strategy is that people come to me.
Yeah.
But try to build it up that people start coming to you. Try to help them, make them look good.
Yeah. So nice. Push versus pull. So I love that so much. Thank you for that. That was a very important aspect actually on the whole process. Because you're right. I see that people doing it wrong all the time. I did that wrong for like a good decade. Still doing it wrong, very frequent occasion. So I really appreciate the conversation on it. Because
Also,
you're right, pushing.
let's not say wrong. I feel wrong is a
Sorry.
very harsh word.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Pushing is right in certain situations, but it depends on the circumstance and the context. It's wrong if you want to go big in sales, or if you want to sell things that have higher value or more complex, then the things changes. But if I just have a bunch of chocolates, I mean, I'm going to push that chocolate everywhere. I'm going to take it on small carts, on bicycles. I will stand next to the school, outside of stores, I don't know, at the beach. Like that stuff just needs to be in people's face. Special deals. Buy 2, get 3, just make sure no one just buys one chocolate if they get engaged in any way possible. I mean, that's push to 100,
Yeah, I see. Fair enough. Beautiful. So you're saying in the higher price segment, or in the bigger contracts that you would do with anyone, that's where you actually a pull environment is a lot more helpful versus in small.
Somehow in any context, but yeah, if you go bigger or or it can also be a combination. But I think it's something that often is not thought about. And when you think about this frustration aspect, that you brought up, sometimes people feel frustrated in sales. It's like, I keep going, and then like maybe I have a success and it's good, but then there's a bunch of no's, and it's this really hamster wheel feeling that you get out of it. So get the hamster wheel feeling out with a bit of a pull strategy.
So nice. Yeah, I love that. Toby, maybe like 2 more questions and then we wrap up. What do you think? I have one question in particular that I really love to ask you. Is there anything that you would love for people to understand about life? Because you've been to so many different places, not everybody gets to do that.
Yes.
What is something where you're like, this is something I wish people would really take with them, because it would make their life just so much nicer, easier.
I mean, I think what you ask salespeople, or what's a good thing to ask them, or when you try to figure out how they're doing or how well they're doing, I would just go into, because I think it's always interesting to understand how they see themselves and why they feel certain things go in a certain direction or not. I feel sales is can be a very stressful environment. I feel it doesn't feel very often like a very honest environment, that can put you a bit on unease. What do I mean with not very honest? In terms of honest, I feel the aspect of people within a sales team, you could be crowned as a superstar because you brought a big deal in. Do you really feel like a superstar, or do you honestly feel a bit lucky with the circumstance and the situation as well? And I think that is a big aspect. I would really go in, when it comes to sales and people in sales, to go on the feeling aspects, how they feel with certain situations. If they win something big, they can go into details how the process is and what happens, but more from a feeling aspect and how they're managing their feelings connected to what is happening in sales. And you can copy paste that very well in life. Like everything that happens to you in life, how it affects you, how you live with it, that's the reality that you have. Sales is just very extreme. There are like very strong feelings and extreme things that are happening. So just to learn on how you balance the feeling around that will change a lot of things on what you do in sales and how you feel and how it goes out. So in the question point, I would really go feeling based when it comes to sales. Try to ask them about the feeling around it.
Yeah, nice. Self exploration. Who am I actually? Why am I why is this? What is it that I'm really creating, and how does it come about? Is that right? Like
Yes.
how do I really fit in that? And why do I have this really strong response when this random person I've never met said no to me in a whatever text message,
Yeah.
versus this, why do I feel nothing about this? Why do I feel so excited or attached to this?
Exactly.
Um, it's beautiful to
Exactly.
explore
So
that because
dig into the feelings. Yeah. Yeah.
cool. Man, I could go on for days. In fact, in this process, I realized that if we ever run or start some sort of program where we teach people about sales, you should totally be one of the authors on it, or that would be fantastic. Um,
It will be
but
so good. And I think this is the problem when we start talking, and especially about topics that we are excited about, we never really want to finish. So in case any of the podcast listeners will be interested to hear us speak more, or in that sense, please share, because next time I meet Thomas in person, we when we're anyways hanging out and chatting, we might just set up a live stream
it
from
could
the
totally
from the
be.
situation. Yeah.
So that sounds fantastic. Actually, could be pretty soon. Mid next month, we have that opportunity. So nice.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Oh
more
man.
to come.
Very cool, Toby. Please tell us, how would you appreciate people reaching out to you? Is there any place where they can connect with you, find, even if they ask for mentorship, advice, any stuff like that? Where would you appreciate an outreach, if anything?
Exactly as Thomas tried to reach out on my LinkedIn, there are 10-minute blogs where you can sign up. No, just kidding. I'm not sure if I still have that up there. Funny story. It was someone from our organization that felt like, oh, you can do this on LinkedIn. Everyone should have it so people can book meetings with you. True story, never even got one meeting booked through that, or something that maybe didn't work with Thomas
It
when he
just doesn't
tried.
happen for anyone.
But yeah, all jokes aside, I'm super happy if you guys reach out to me through LinkedIn. You can send me a message there. You can connect with me there. Happy to connect and respond and stay in touch. That's it.
Cool. All right, Toby, is there anything else we have left? Anything you would love to share with the listeners? Last words before we close the chapter today?
Man, I think last words can always be something funny, but now nothing specific comes to mind.
I had some really
Thanks.
good last words recently. I
No.
must.
I always have good things to say. I was just needed to choose something. I want all the listeners to take home with themselves and kind of be mindful of. And it's especially when you have your everyday, you walk around any environment, you get more stressed or not, people, what they're thinking, and so on. What you really, really, really need to remember is that there is no other person in this world who thinks as much about yourself than you do. So, with all your thoughts about how do I look, what do other people think, what is happening, how does it sound, what I say, and so on, you're the only person who thinks so much about it. So, if you're able to kind of put that away and walk through life, knowing that all people that are around you keep thinking about themselves the way you just did until now, you can really enjoy the moments in life so much more because you are not so occupied with what might other people think, which is just you thinking.
So
So let
true.
go of that and just enjoy life. Go and look at people and see them think about themselves. So enjoyable. So nice.
Thank you so much, Toby. What a beautiful way to end the podcast. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today, and see you on the next Castle Magic podcast show. Please tell us if you enjoyed this episode particularly, and write to us. You know where to reach me already, and please like this fantastic show. We're excited to be back with Toby for another round. I'm pretty sure you guys will love this one, so I'm excited for that next session. Toby, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next show.
Thank you, Thomas.